Imagine sitting in front of a glaring computer screen, right? It's like 6 in the morning.
Oh, the absolute best time for a mountain of emails.
Yeah, exactly. And your inbox is just a continuous scrolling waterfall. I mean, we are talking hundreds, potentially thousands of unread messages pouring in from literally every corner of the globe.
Right.
And every single one of those emails or, direct messages represents someone's ultimate lifelong dream.
It's heavy.
It really is. It is someone who has sacrificed their childhood, trained until they bled, and poured just everything they have into this hope that you'll click their link, watch their video, and change their destiny forever.
Yeah, that immense pressure is basically the daily reality for a professional football scout.
It is. But here is the brutal truth we are tackling today. The vast majority of those dreams, they are deleted and completely forgotten in under 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
That's-
It sounds incredibly harsh when you frame it that way.
It does.
But the reality is that this high rejection rate, it isn't born out of cruelty or arrogance, on the part of the decision makers. We are dealing with the rigid, unforgiving mechanics of athletic talent discovery in a hyper-globalized world.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to pull back the curtain on those hidden mechanics. We are operating off a really fascinating, highly specific professional guide to football scouting.
Yeah, the Spoorta Scout Talk script.
Right, the Spoorta Scout Talk script. This source is a rigorous, evidence-based manual. It completely breaks down the fatal, entirely avoidable mistakes that players make when pitching themselves to clubs, academies, and agents.
And we are going to figure out why the vast majority of aspiring football, or soccer, depending where you are, players fail before a scout even sees them touch a ball.
Exactly. And the insights in the Spoorta Guide are fascinating because they expose this massive gap between what a talented individual thinks matters
Right.
and what the gatekeeper actually needs to see to make a business decision.
And if you are listening to us right now, whether you are on your morning commute or just walking the dog, this goes way beyond sports.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe you are an athlete trying to get noticed.
Hmm.
But even if you have never set foot on a pitch, the psychology we are uncovering today applies directly to you.
Because whether you are a fan trying to understand the sports business or an entrepreneur pitching a startup to some cynical venture capitalist.
Or a creative sending out a portfolio for a highly competitive job.
Exactly. You are dealing with the exact same dynamics. This deep dive is ultimately about the art of the perfect professional pitch. It's about how you capture and, more importantly, hold the attention of a highly critical evaluator who is actively looking for a reason to say no.
Just so they can manage their own workload.
Yeah.
Overcoming information overload is the universal challenge here.
Yeah.
You have to build trust instantly. You have to prove your value without making the person on the other side of the screen work hard to find it. The moment you introduce friction into their evaluation process,
You lose.
you lose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I want to place us directly into that overflowing inbox we talked about. The Spoorta Guide makes this compelling case that basic formatting, literally just the simple arrangement of text, is a life or death matter for a career.
It really is.
We see players constantly send what the source calls the vague pitch. It is usually just a raw video link accompanied by a message that says something like, hello, I am a very good player. Please help me find a club.
Which is just a tragic waste of effort.
Right.
Because it places the entire cognitive burden on the scout. What's fascinating here is how the evaluator's brain actually processes that lack of context.
How so?
Well, missing information doesn't just leave a blank space on the page. It actively generates suspicion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when a scout opens an email, their brain is in full triage mode.
Right.
They need a rapid-fire baseline. Who are you? What is your age? What passport do you hold? What is your specific position? Are you left or right-footed? Where are you currently playing? If you force the scout to play detective just to figure out what country you live in, they will simply close the tab.
I look at that vague pitch, and it kind of reminds me of someone walking into a high-level corporate recruitment firm with a resume that just has their name at the top and a single sentence that says, I am a very hard worker.
Right.
No recruiter would ever call you back. They need to know if you are a hard worker in corporate finance, in supply chain logistics, or, graphic design.
Exactly.
Yet athletes continually do this. They will write, I can play everywhere on the pitch. I imagine they think they are demonstrating adaptability, right?
Yeah.
Showing the coach they are this flexible asset.
Oh, they absolutely think they are being helpful. But psychologically, claiming you can play everywhere signals a profound lack of self-awareness.
Oh, interesting.
To a professional scout, A player who claims to be good at every position usually hasn't mastered the tactical demands of any of them. It tells the evaluator that this player does not understand their own identity within a structured professional system.
But let me push back on the timeline here for a second,
Yeah.
because 30 seconds feels aggressively short.
It is short.
Right. If a player is genuinely a hidden prodigy, like if they have generational talent, wouldn't a scout take an extra minute to reply and just ask, hey, how old are you and what league do you play in?
You would think so, but the math simply does not allow for it.
Really?
Yeah, the globalization of the sport, combined with the democratization of video technology, means that everyone has a smartphone and everyone can send a clip. A scout might receive 500 pitches in a single day.
500. Wow.
So if they spend just 2 extra minutes playing email tag with every player who forgot to list their age, that is over 16 hours of unpaid administrative work.
Which is impossible.
Right. They filter ruthlessly out of pure survival. A brilliant example from the source material highlights this need for immediate context. Imagine a player sends a video of themselves scoring a spectacular goal from 30 yards out.
Oh, okay.
Without context, it's just a pretty picture.
Because a goal scored in a casual Sunday league against guys who, I don't know, work in accounting during the week is fundamentally different from a goal scored in a highly regulated, competitive, under-19 professional academy league.
Exactly the point.
Yeah.
The scout has no baseline to judge the speed of the action, the pressure of the defenders, or the tactical significance of the moment. Without the context of the competition level, the visual evidence is completely meaningless.
So clear, upfront information establishes that baseline of trust.
Yes. It proves you respect the professional's time.
That makes total sense. The
Yep.
context is the frame and the video is the painting inside it.
I like that.
So let's assume a player actually clears that first hurdle. They provide the perfect, frictionless introduction. The scout reads it, the cognitive load is low, they are intrigued, and they actually click the video link.
Okay, we're in the video now.
Right. We are moving from the written pitch to the visual evidence. And the Spoorta Guide points out a massive paradox here. Players believe that a highly produced cinematic video is their golden ticket.
Oh, yeah, they do.
But the very production elements they think make them look professional are the exact things that get them instantly rejected.
We call this the illusion of the highlight reel. Video is obviously the currency of modern scouting, but players heavily misunderstand what the buyer, the scout, is actually trying to purchase.
What are they trying to purchase?
Well, players think the scout wants to be entertained, but the scout actually wants to be informed.
Oh, that's a great distinction because the source is incredibly specific about this visual friction. We are talking about videos burdened with heavy hip-hop soundtracks, chaotic editing, and absolute worst of all, excessive slow motion.
The slow motion is a killer.
You see this all over social media. The player receives the ball, the beat drops, the footage slows down to a crawl, and they execute this dramatic step over.
Slow motion is arguably the biggest red flag a player can introduce into their profile.
Really? The biggest?
Without a doubt, when a player slows down the footage, they might think they are emphasizing their technique, but what they are actually doing is deliberately hiding the real speed of the game.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, professional football is not just about technique. It is about the pace of decision-making. Can you execute that step over when a professional defender is closing you down at a full sprint?
Right.
Slow motion robs the scout of the ability to evaluate your cognitive speed and your physical explosiveness.
It's basically visual manipulation, and the scout knows it.
Exactly.
The guide also mentions that if the scout can't figure out which blurry pixel is the player within the first few seconds, they are out.
Yeah, you have to highlight yourself.
Yeah. Right. The player needs to use a simple circle or an arrow to identify themselves before the ball even moves. But once the action does start, the content itself seems to be a huge stumbling block.
It is.
Like a midfielder will often just send a montage of themselves taking long-distance shots.
Which completely ignores the functional reality of their position. A highlight reel cannot just be a collection of lucky moments or isolated tricks. It must be a functional demonstration tailored to their specific identity on the pitch.
Give me an example.
Sure, if we look at a central midfielder, the scout isn't looking for screamers from outside the box. They are evaluating the player's first touch under immediate pressure. They are watching to see if the player physically scans the field over their shoulder before they even receive the ball.
They want the boring stuff,
They
basically.
want the essential stuff. Line-breaking passes, defensive transitions, things that happen 90% of the game.
And I imagine the criteria shifts entirely depending on the role.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, for a center back, you aren't looking for flashy dribbling. You are evaluating their aerial dominance, their anticipation of danger, their body positioning during one-on-one defensive duels, and, how calmly they can build out from the back when the opposing team is pressing them.
The visual evidence has to match the specific job description. But even if a player compiles a perfectly tailored real-speed highlight reel with clear visual cues, the guide insists it is still not enough.
What else do they need?
A serious professional profile must include a link to at least one full, unedited match.
See, here's where it gets really interesting to me, because the psychology of that demand seems completely counterintuitive.
Oh, so?
Well, if I am advising a professional, whether an athlete or a freelance graphic designer, my instinct is to meticulously curate their portfolio to hide their flaws. Showing a scout a full 90-minute match means showing them the misplaced passes.
Yes, it does.
It means showing them the moment in the 80th minute when the player is completely gassed and out of position. Why would a player willingly hand over the ammunition that could be used to reject them?
This raises an important question about what talent evaluators are actually looking for. Yes, a full match exposes mistakes. But the scouts demand it precisely because they want to see those mistakes.
Wait, really?
Yes, a highlight reel only shows what the player wants the world to see. It is a curated fantasy. A full match shows who the player actually is. It reveals the reality of their character.
You are saying they're intentionally hunting for the moments when things go wrong.
Absolutely. Think about the space between the highlights. A player loses the ball in the middle of the pitch. The scout is no longer evaluating the technical error of the bad pass. They are intensely analyzing the psychological reaction to that error.
No, that makes sense.
Does the player drop their shoulders, complain to the referee, and slowly jog back? Or do they instantly transition into a counterpress with aggression and discipline to win the ball back?
It's the ultimate character test. It reminds me of interviewing someone for a high-stakes management position.
Exactly.
You don't really care how they perform when the project is fully funded and everything is running smoothly. You want to know what they do when the main server crashes at midnight and half the team is out sick.
Right?
Do they panic or do they solve the problem?
That is a perfect parallel. Scouts are testing mental resilience. They are looking at your spatial awareness when the ball is 50 yards away from you. They are looking at your verbal communication with your teammates.
All the stuff you can't clip into a TikTok video.
Exactly. A player can look like an absolute world beater in a 2-minute compilation. But in a full match, that same player might completely disappear for 20-minute stretches, just refusing to defend. A highlight video gets a scout's attention, but the vulnerability of a full match is what actually builds undeniable trust.
So the visual evidence requires an incredible amount of honesty and self-awareness. But let's bring this back to the communication strategy, because providing the right context and the right video is entirely useless if the pitch itself is fundamentally broken.
Words matter.
They do. And the Spoorta source dives deep into the emotional language players use, which brings us to the trap of making unrealistic claims.
We see this constantly. Messages that say, I am the next Lionel Messi. I guarantee I will become a global star. Or, I just need one single chance to prove I'm better than the players you have right now.
To an aspiring player, that probably feels like showing passion and hunger, right?
Sure.
But according to the guide, football professionals hear these exact, highly emotional phrases hundreds of times a week.
And it instantly destroys the player's credibility. The professional sports industry, much like venture capital or corporate hiring, is not built on emotional pleas or grandiose promises. It is built entirely on verifiable evidence. When a player writes, I am better than many professional players, they are making a massive emotional claim with zero empirical backing.
It's just words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The scout doesn't want you to tell them you are the best. They want the data. Name your club, state your league division, provide verified statistics, offer the contact information of your previous licensed coaches.
It's almost uncomfortably similar to dating.
How so?
Well, you wouldn't walk up to a total stranger in a coffee shop and say, I am the absolute best partner in the world. I guarantee we will be happy. Marry me right now.
Yeah, that would be a huge red flag.
That level of unearned intensity is terrifying. You have to prove your value over time through actions and verifiable facts. And perhaps more importantly, you have to know exactly what kind of relationship you're actually looking for,
That's a great point.
which is where the source highlights another critical failure in the communication strategy, the shotgun approach.
Ah, yes. The shotgun approach is when a player drafts one generic copy-pasted email and sends it blindly to first-team clubs, to youth academies, to independent agents, and to private scouting networks, just hoping anyone will bite.
Now, we know that academy directors are generally looking for moldable, long-term talent, whereas first-team scouts are looking for an immediate plug-and-play fit for their roster.
Right.
But how does that fundamental difference in business objectives actually alter the mechanics of the player's pitch?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it changes the entire objective of the communication. When you send a generic message to everyone, you prove that you don't understand the ecosystem of the business.
Okay.
Let's break down the audiences. If a player pitches a professional club directly, that club is assessing immediate squad utility. They're asking, does this athlete meet the physical and technical demands of our current league, and do we have a vacancy in our roster for a left back?
Right, they have specific needs.
If they just signed 2 left backs last week, they do not care how good you are. You have to demonstrate you understand their current level.
And an academy is an entirely different business model.
Precisely. An academy director is evaluating potential over current ability. They are looking at your age, your physiological development stage, and your capacity to be coached into their specific club philosophy.
So the pitch to them needs to highlight growth and coachability.
Yes. And then you have agents. An agent is a business representative. When they watch your video, they aren't evaluating how you fit into a specific team's tactical system. They're evaluating your commercial viability.
Can they sell you, basically?
Exactly. They're asking, is this athlete polished enough that I can market them to my network of sporting directors tomorrow and make a commission?
So when a player blasts out the exact same emotional plea to all 3 of those distinct entities, it just screams amateur hour.
It really does.
It tells the evaluator that the player hasn't done a shred of research into who is actually receiving the email.
Exactly. Tailoring the message, explicitly stating whether you are seeking a youth trial, a first-team contract, or professional agency representation, proves that you understand the business side of the sport. It elevates you from a desperate amateur to a professional seeking a partnership.
Okay, we have thoroughly deconstructed all the ways players inadvertently sabotage their own dreams. The vague emails, the slow-motion visual manipulation, the hiding behind highlight reels, the emotional "I'm the next Messi" claims, and the untargeted shotgun blasts.
It's a lot of pitfalls.
It is. But the Spoorta source doesn't just leave us with the problems, though. It actually provides an actionable blueprint for a football CV. And what strikes me about their ideal structure is how it functions to actively reduce the scout's cognitive load. It is designed to be easily digestible.
Cognitive fluency is the psychological principle at play here. When information is structured logically, it feels easier to process, and humans subconsciously perceive easy-to-process information as more trustworthy and professional.
So how does that structure actually flow? It seems to start by firmly anchoring the player's identity.
It begins with the absolute non-negotiables. The demographic data.
Right.
Name, age, nationality, current location, precise position, strong foot, and physical metrics like height and weight. You give the scout the frame immediately.
So there's no guessing.
None. Once their brain has anchored who you are, you build a foundation by providing your football background. This is the evidence. Current and previous clubs, the specific tier of the league you compete in, and any verifiable achievements.
Only after that foundation is laid do you introduce the visual proof.
Exactly.
And the guide advises a very specific 2-pronged delivery. A single short highlight video strictly capped at 3 to 5 minutes to hook their attention, followed immediately by links to 1 or 2 full matches to prove your character and resilience.
And these must be simple, clickable links.
Right. You aren't forcing a busy scout to download massive, suspicious video files to their personal hard drive.
You are removing all technical friction. Once they have seen the video, the profile should define the asset. The player must articulate their specific strengths. But again, restraint is key here. No, I can play everywhere claims.
Exactly. Instead of claiming to be a master of everything, the player limits themselves to 3 highly specific traits. For example, stating, I'm a fast winger with exceptional one-on-one attacking ability and a high defensive work rate. You give the scout a clear mental image of how you function on the pitch.
You define the asset, and then you explicitly state the objective.
Yeah.
You tell them what you want from them, a trial, an academy spot, representation,
Be direct.
and finally, you close with credibility. You provide references, the contact details of past coaches, verified tournament statistics. You bring the empirical proof.
The guide contrasts this beautifully. Think back to that initial painful message. Hello, sir. I'm a very good football player. I need a club. Please help me.
Yeah, vague and stressful.
It is unstructured, emotional, and exhausting for the reader. Compare the cognitive load of that message to this highly structured example. Hello, my name is Adam. I am a 17-year-old right-winger from Sweden. I currently play for an under-19 regional team.
So clear. My strong foot is right, and my primary strengths are speed, 1-versus-1 attacking, and aggressive high pressing. I am looking for academy or trial opportunities in Europe. Here is my 3-minute highlight video, a link to a full 90-minute match, and the contact information for my current head coach.
It's night and day. Reading that second pitch, I don't feel stressed at all. I feel like I am dealing with a grounded professional who actually respects my time.
Right.
And frankly, this need for standardized, frictionless data is exactly why technology platforms like Spoorta are fundamentally changing the landscape of athletic discovery. Relying on random direct messages slipped into a scout's Instagram inbox is a failing strategy.
Because social media DMs were designed for casual conversation, not professional talent evaluation. Platforms like Spoorta exist to force this necessary structure.
And it's important to note, they don't magically make a bad player good.
Oh, definitely not. And they certainly don't guarantee a professional contract. Any technology claiming to guarantee a contract is lying to you. What they do is standardize the database. They help athletes professionally organize their demographics, their verified history, and their clean video links into a singular, searchable profile.
It takes the chaos of the inbox and turns it into a streamlined dashboard. It ensures that immense physical talent isn't ignored simply because the player didn't know how to format an email.
Exactly.
The guide actually offers a brilliant final diagnostic before a player hits send. It asks the athlete to look at their pitch and answer a few core questions. Can a stranger understand who I am in under 30 seconds?
Crucial.
Is my position explicitly clear? Does my video showcase functional, real speed football actions rather than just tricks? Have I been brave enough to include a full match? And is my language professional, realistic, and tailored to the person reading it?
If the answer to any of those is no, the player is actively building a wall between themselves and the opportunity they're so desperate for.
So what does this all mean? For me, the core realization from diving into this scouting material is almost unsettling. You could possess immense generational physical talent.
You really could.
You could have explosive speed, unbelievable tactical vision, and a work ethic that defies logic. But all of that talent is entirely useless if your presentation is flawed. Presentation is the ultimate gatekeeper of opportunity.
The harsh reality of the talent discovery world is that a highly serious, disciplined player with a clear, well-structured profile will almost always outcompete a slightly more physically talented player whose profile creates friction for the evaluator.
Because they just don't have the time.
Right. If a scout has to struggle to find your age or wade through 5 minutes of slow-motion visual manipulation just to guess your real pace, they will simply close the tab and move on to the player who made their job easy.
It is a massive wake-up call regarding how we present ourselves to the world. And, circling back to you, the listener, whether you are lacing up your boots for a trial in front of a professional club, or you are polishing up a design portfolio for a creative agency, or putting together a pitch deck for a group of investors, hard work and raw talent only matter if you know how to present them effectively to the people who hold the keys to the next level.
You have to remove the friction.
You have to fundamentally understand what the decision maker actually needs to see, not just what you want to show them. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the hidden mechanics of scouting.
And as you go about the rest of your day, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. Think about your own personal highlight reel right now, in your career, in your creative portfolio, or even in the way you present your life to your network.
That's a great question.
Are you only showing people your heavily edited slow-motion successes? Or are you brave enough to show them the full match? How do you handle your mistakes? How do you recover from a sudden loss? And how do you move and communicate when you don't have the ball and the spotlight isn't directly on you? What would happen to the depth of your professional relationship if you started leading with that complete unedited picture of who you really are?